Hi, welcome. It's time for my town hall today and my campaign update. Hello, welcome. My name is Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki, and I am running for President of the United States as a write-in candidate. And I am here to share some new information with you about what's going on with my campaign and things going on in the country. So, I guess let's begin. My little holder here broke, so I'm doing the best I can with a substitute sort of system, but I hope it'll hold and you'll have this view for the whole session. Anyway, welcome. So, where am I? So I have quite a few states now, and the states are asking for electors, and they're also asking for vice presidents. But I keep trying to fight with them over this because it doesn't say that in our Constitution, and the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So I don't know what's going on, but the states and the people running the states, the legislature there, so the Democrats and the Republicans, because those are the only ones who've been in office, they have created fake rules that are just fake. They're not in the Constitution, and they have nothing to do with being president or running for office even. So they're asking, like I said, they want me to have a vice president, which I don't have. I've asked many people and no one has agreed to it yet. And then I've also what do I want to say? I've also been trying to get electors. I started this probably about a month ago or maybe even 2 months ago, and I haven't heard from anyone. So technically, I'm of the opinion I don't have to provide either of those, according to what I read in our Constitution. But the states are declining me, so I'm doing my best to be accurate and at least, represent you, the people. I'm still waiting to hear about my lawsuit. I still don't have it back, so that's a good sign. Supposedly, the Supreme Court is out for summer, and I think early October is when they go back. So it could be we're going to wait until October, or it could be that there might be a ruling before that, any day, any minute, So I don't know exactly how the Supreme Court works. I don't even think that a lot of people know how the Supreme Court works. So we're all learning this whole process together, right? So anyways, they still have it. And so I assume that something's going to happen. Now, technically, they could send it back to me once they open their doors again. And so this might go all the way up to or even beyond the election, and then they might make a ruling on it. Again, I don't see how they could say no, because it is clear it's unconstitutional to force a U.S. citizen to have to register their name on a list that we now know has a lot of fraud in it, and we're going to find out why when I read some of the Constitution to you. But anyway, there's a lot of fraud in that list, but they want you to put your name on it, and actually they're still making us use that list and still using this registering to vote process. So anyway, they don't have a right to force that upon you to have your vote counted. It's not constitutional what they're doing. You, as a citizen of our country, should just be able to walk in the door, show you are a citizen and that you live at the address you live, And then you should maybe sign a book that says, I voted today, and then you should place your vote and have it counted, period. There should be no question about anything. So the states have been lying to us. I mean, the Democrats and the Republicans have been lying to us because they're the ones who've been in charge all this time. You know, for over 100 years, they've been doing this to us. They've been manipulating your vote and my vote, and I'm done with it. I want my vote counted exactly how I make it. I don't want computers involved. I want a paper trail. I want to see it counted. I don't want funny things in the garbage can later. I don't want any of that. So we need to have a clean election where real people get their voice heard. It's disgusting what the Democrats and the Republicans have done. And you know, for a long time I was trying to save the Republican Party because it's Lincoln's party, but I finally had to give up on that too. So it's time for the monopoly to be dissolved, and it's time for the people's voice to be heard again. All right, so I just want to state this first. You know, I am all about securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. That's what our Constitution does. It secures that. And the Democrats and Republicans have trampled all over our document. And it's time that they stop it. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, they're all criminal in my mind because this is the supreme law of the land, and I'm going to read that little bit to you in a second. But this is unacceptable. Unacceptable what they've done. So, you know, the other part that I want to say is that I was always told that anyone in our country who is a citizen can be president. And I am an anyone. And I'm having problems just being a write-in option to be president of the United States. I've been rejected over and over again by so many states because I don't have a vice president, because I don't have electors. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just filling out the documents as best I can, crossing off the things I don't have, and I'm going to send it in. And I think what I'll do also on the document is quote the pages from the Constitution that make it clear that I am exactly eligible. I am over 35. I've lived more than 14 years of my life in this country, and I am a natural-born U.S. citizen. I was even born on an Air Force base, so you don't get more citizen-y than that. Yeah. So anyways, let's talk electors, but let me read first about the supreme law of the land. And that would be on page 52 in my book, which is... Wait. Oh, that's 51. So in Article 6 of the Constitution, in the second paragraph, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all the treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures. This is the third chapter, or the third chapter, third paragraph, sorry, in this article. The members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, meaning all the states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. And then it goes on to say this, which is not part of what we're talking about, but it's in here. But no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So it's one of the few moments where they do talk about religion. So you don't have to be of a certain religion to be in government, period. But the real part is that that the senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of several state legislatures, so all the state legislatures and all the executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support the Constitution. Not their state constitution. I mean, they should do that too, but the U.S. Constitution. And they're not doing it. So, let me now read to you what it says. I'm going to give you the quick concept of what we're looking for. So, the electors, that's what we're talking about, in every state, is the Congress, all the Congress members for each state, plus the Senate, and that's how many electors that each state gets. Electors cannot be employees of the government. So I guess they also can't be postal workers, anyone who's federal or state. DMV people, I guess. So we're down to, business owners or restaurant owners or things like that who can be electors. Then it clearly states that the election for a vice president and the election for a president by the electors are two completely separate elections. And therefore, you don't have to come with your own vice president, or you don't even have to come with your own president. You can just be a vice president or be a president, So, again, I go back to the promise of the oath to uphold the Constitution, and the legislatures or the Secretary of States who write up the forms, they're not doing their job. So I am simply going to ignore the fact that I need supposedly a vice president. And technically there's even a section in here that says that the states have to pick their own electors. So I don't think I have to provide electors, but in case I do, so that it works, so that I am official in your state, it would be great if I could get electors. And usually that just means that I need your name and address and maybe your telephone number or an email address. But so far it's mostly your name and address. Sometimes I need a signature from you. And they also have put in that you have to be registered to vote. But you are registered to vote automatically if you're a U.S. citizen. What you have to be is over 21, and you have to be a U.S. citizen. And that's it. Some states say you have to be 2 years in their state. So I think that's a fair rule too. You have to be 2 years in that state. So those are the requirements for you, the electors. You don't, in my opinion, have to be registered, because you are automatically registered because you're a U.S. citizen. We should not have to register to vote to have our vote counted, and that's what my lawsuit is about. So anyways, that is the other thing that we're going to read about in a second. And the last thing is, I was wondering, there are these organizations, or there's something called Robert's Rules. It's like how organizations, companies are run, how they run their board meetings and whatnot. So anyway, long story short is that apparently when problems arise, supposedly, and so this is only mentioned when the vote goes crazy and we don't have a majority who is the president automatically, then it goes to like we're going to learn about that, but it goes to the House of Representatives and it goes to the Senate too, and there they have to have a quorum, and a quorum is 2/3 of the adult population must vote for the president or the vice president or whatever the case may be. So if that is in the later vote, then it's also in actually the normal election that you and I take place in. So that means that 2/3 of the adult population in the U.S. have to vote. If they don't vote, right? If they don't vote, then there's not a quorum, and then the election is fraudulent. And I think now that is what's going on. So the election division realizes that not enough people are voting. So then they suddenly make up fake names and then vote for them, and then they have their quorum, and then they don't have to throw out the vote. But that's illegal. There's no way to get around it. It's illegal. Now, I don't know if it's the county clerk who's doing it, or if it's the Secretary of State, or maybe even the governor, but somebody's doing it. And so now that makes sense why we have fake names, because they need a quorum. If they don't have enough of their population in their state voting, then that's a problem. They need 2/3 of the population to vote. Otherwise, the election is fraudulent. But if they put fraudulent names on there, then the election is fraudulent. So it's fraudulent either way. And but this is probably, I'm now going to say, the reason behind putting fake names on. And that also goes for counties too. If you don't have 2/3 of the people voting, then you got a problem. Now, they might have in different states put in other rules, but I think it's pretty clear it's got to be 2/3. So my recommendation at this point is become unregistered. You're going to have to write a letter, and you're going to have to send it to the appropriate place. You're going to have to look it up, write the letter, send it off, and get unregistered. Then you can always go and vote. They put up these fake dates of the last day to register, or the last day to change your address, or the last day, all of this stuff. It's all fake. So you can go up on the very last day, and you show you're a citizen by your birth certificate, and you show your address by your driver's license, and then you can vote, and your vote should be counted. Now, they're going to say that it might take a while. You'll probably get something called a provisional ballot, and they might say it's going to take like 2 weeks to make sure that you are who you are, but you have that right. You are a citizen, and technically that vote then should be counted. because you are a citizen and legally living in the state you're living in. So, anyway, that's how it goes. So become unregistered. But you're going to have to write a letter. Those postcards, they don't do it. And that's also a joke. So, and don't do it at the DMV. That's also a joke. So, they've got all these fraudulent things set up that are just, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with the information. So just write a letter. Look it up at your state's election division website. Find out what you have to do to get your name off that list, off the registering to vote list, and then become unregistered. And then you can vote. Don't let them bully you into saying, hey, you can't vote. You can. You can always vote because you're a citizen and it's your right. So, okay, then getting back to the elector concept. So page 43 in my book states, Article 2, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. So it's the one place there's no question of how to do this. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress, but no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. So that's the rule that that when they go to vote, the electors, that they need to vote for 2 separate times for 2 different people, and it has to be 2 people who are not living in the same state. So that one state, we'll say like Virginia, probably, back in the day when this was written, they were a big state with a big population, and what happened, or what could have happened, was they would maybe put out a vice president and a president, and then Virginia would have a lot of sway in the way the government does business and stuff like that for 4 years. And that way they didn't want that to happen. They wanted you to be somebody from Virginia and somebody from New York, but not all from the same state, which makes sense. And they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. This is what the January 6th was all about. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if there be more than one who have such majority and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president, and if no person have a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, the said House shall in like manner choose the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representatives from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the vice president. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes. So that's what the Congress gets to do. Decide the time and the day. Which day, and that is December 17th, usually at 10 o'clock in the morning. Which day shall be the same throughout the United States. Yes, so they all do it at the same time. Actually, so I think that's DC time, what I said before. So then the other states, they might match that time. I'm not actually sure. So that would be something interesting to look if it's really all the states at the same time. So does Hawaii and Alaska, do they have to get up early? I'm not sure. Anyway, the Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the states. Okay, so just the day has to be the same. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of President. Neither shall any person be eligible to the office who shall not have attained 35 years of age and been 14 years a resident of the United States. In case of the removal of the President from the office, or of his death and resignation or inability to discharge the powers of duty and duties of said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President. So the Vice President has to have those qualities too. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case of removal, death, or resignation or inability, both of the President and Vice President, declaring that the officers shall then act as President, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or the President shall, or a President shall be elected. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation, which shall neither be increased or diminished during the period which he shall have been elected. And he shall receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. Before he entered on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So not only does the president say that, but the vice president says something similar, and everybody in Congress says something similar, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the states says something too. So they're all obligated to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, and they're not. They are manipulating it to their own will. So now there's another part about being electors on page 63 of my book in Amendment 12. This was ratified in 1804, and it goes, "The electors shall meet in their representative states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of their same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, the person voted for, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president. And they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and all persons voted for as vice president, and the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted." These are the votes from you, the electors. "The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such a number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such a majority, then from the persons having the highest number, not exceeding 3, on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president." So what I want to say is the president of the Senate is actually the vice president. So Kamala Harris is technically the president of the Senate, and she will be reading off these names of who were who's got electoral votes or not. Then where are we? Having the highest number not exceeded 3, the House shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states. So I have to look up what 2/3 of the states is. It's, yeah, I don't know, over 30, or is it 30? No, it's over 30, but I don't know where. So 30 states have to be there, represented for this to work. And a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall dissolve upon them, before the 4th day of March, next following, then the vice president shall act as president in the case of the death or constitutional disability of the president. And then there's a asterisk, which is superseded by Section 3 of the 20th Amendment. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the two highest numbers, on the list, the Senate shall choose vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary for a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. So the other thing you need to know is that the states are also, some of them are requiring me as a candidate to be registered. And nowhere in this document does it say I have to be registered. I fulfill the requirements of being president. So you don't have to be registered to be president of the United States. And I am saying this directly to my Secretary of State, who claims that I am not eligible to be a presidential candidate in West Virginia as a write-in candidate because I'm not registered. That is unconstitutional. It's a lie, and you are just making things up. So, what makes a citizen? A citizen of the United States is all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And then I'm going to read this because this is also about your rights and voting. So this is the 14th Amendment. This is the amendment I'm using in my argument to get rid of registering to vote. And it's Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges. Did you get that? No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. So, as citizens from another state, you have immunities to things and privileges in every state. And then in your own state, you have your own privileges too, which are even stronger. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. So, I just want to remind you, Montana says I'm not eligible to be a write-in candidate for many reasons. I don't have a vice president, I don't have electors, and, I joked with them because they're going to be putting a felon, nothing personal, Donald Trump, but they're going to be putting you on the ballot, a felon, and you can be on the ballot because whatever you did, whatever you had to do, but I can't be a write-in candidate, and so I'm not on a ballot. I'm probably not anywhere, but they won't let me because I'm not fulfilling all their requirements. But the requirements are clearly stated in the Constitution, which they're supposed to be following, which is the supreme law of the land. And no state has a right to make or enforce any law that restricts my privilege. And anyways, without due process of the law. So, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So, why am I not able to just be a write-in candidate? What they want, though, is they want me to pay the same price that it would cost somebody to be on the ballot, but yet I'm off the ballot. That doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah. If I pay money, then I want to be on the ballot, right? I want my name there. But I don't know. It's just, yeah, Montana. I'm sorry. You're not really living up to the Constitution. So, what law did I break? That I'm not paying you? You don't have a right to enforce any law that restricts my ability to be a presidential candidate, period. I am eligible. People, you have that option of writing a name in. Therefore, in my opinion, according to the 14th Amendment here, I have a right to be a write-in candidate, and you cannot restrict my right. You don't have that right to enforce it. So, then page 74 is about District of Columbia being able to vote. So I don't really have to read that. But yeah, so District of Columbia, you can also vote according to the 23rd Amendment. Then there was something about the 20th Amendment. Let me get to that. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's more about the election. So the term of president starts on at noon on the 20th day of January, and terms of senator usually begin at noon on the 3rd of January. If at the time fixed for the beginning, this is section 3, of the 20th Amendment. If at the time fixed for beginning the term of president, the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall become president. If the president shall not have been chosen before the fixed time for the beginning of the term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until the president shall have qualified. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president shall have qualified. Okay, so I think that they have more on the election here, but let's leave it at how the whole electoral college works. So now you have a better concept. Technically, it's the states that choose the electors. I guess they want us candidates to just give a few names so that they can have names to pick from of people who are interested in being part of the process. So anyways, if you're interested in being my elector and being part of the process, then you need to send me an email in the subject area, please put the state that you're in, so I know which state. And then down below in the body, put in your name and your county would be wonderful. And if you know what House of Representative district you're in, that would be really helpful. So, you know, some states have many districts, some just have 2. So just, yeah, if you could do that for me, so I can put you on my lists, and then you might be able to be an elector. And as you know, I have a special concept with my electors. I want to invite you and 5 of your family or friends to the White House if I get elected. And then you can see what your president does, how the executive branch works firsthand, you know, and there'll be a tour, and you can watch me work in the Oval Office. And then at the end of the day, we'll sit down to a nice dinner together, all of us, and have a chat. And you can tell me what's on your mind about ways to make the USA better. So that is my plan for my electors. It's my little reward. And I will say some states actually pay a little bit of money. Maybe even some states pay more. But as an elector from the state, you also get some sort of a benefit. So anyways, look into it. Look into your state, how it works, and then send me that email as soon as possible, because it's now holding me up, and I'm going to hold on to the forms, you know, and not send them in, but I'm going to fill them out as if I'm going to send it without your name on it. But ultimately, I will put your name in if you write me, you know, in the next month. I need you to let me know you want to be an elector. So you got a month now. All right, so that's it for me for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really enjoyed you know, going over this with you, and now maybe you understand a little bit more about the being an elector and what it means. And yeah, so that's it. I also recommend that people, we need good people, honest people, counting ballots. So please sign up at your local election department and say you want to work at the polls. I mean, hopefully the Supreme Court will come out and everything will change, but get involved. Get involved as much as you can. I know we're all stressed and overworked, but if you can get involved, do get involved. It's important. It's about you and your life and your posterity. And it's also about me. That's why I got involved, because it's about me and my posterity, and it's about you, and I care about you too. And I care about your posterity too. So let's start together working and moving our country back to a constitutional-based country and an honest one with integrity. Let's be leaders in integrity, shall we? Okay, I'm not perfect. I will say I'm not perfect, and I've been stressed out lately, so you know, some of you have heard me maybe being stressed out. I'm sorry about that, but I do my best, and none of us are perfect, but we should at least aim high, and so that we get almost there, or maybe we get there sometimes even. So yeah, let's bring back integrity to our country. Okay, thank you very much for stopping by. You can look me up and find out about my lawsuit at my website, which is susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, USA.com. Thank you. I wish you a good day wherever you are. Bye for now.